From Anshe Sfard Beth El Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Purim with a little bit of help from above. We'd like to relate this also to the Parashat Vayakhel that's this week as well. If we look in the story of Megillah, nothing exemplifies greater than the Megillah of Esther, the Hester Panim, the notion that God somehow hides his face, but the notion nonetheless that there is Hashgachat Hashem, there is a hidden hand of God in everything that we do, despite the fact that we live in an era in which very often God's hand and God's face is hidden, so to speak. If we look in the Megillah, we see that things seem to unfold in a proper way for the Jewish people. After the decree of Haman to destroy the Jews, then things seem to fall just right into place so that the Jews can be saved and Esther can rise greater to power. The rabbis see within this the hand of God, and they express this in the notion of inserting angels into the story of the Megillah, where a normal reader just sees the political intrigue in the king's court. For the Midrashic, Aggadic reader of the Talmud and the Midrash, there are actually angels orchestrating the scenery as things go on. First case, the Gemara says in Megillah Daf Yud Beis and Yud Beis, where there's an entire explication of this Megillah. It says that why didn't Vashti come to the party of Achashverosh? After all, Shneim la'oto davar nitkavnu, dvar ve'er nitkavnu. They both wanted to reveal her beauty in a most vulgar kind of way. So why didn't she come to the party? The answer is Ba Gavriel Vasal Azanav. Gavriel, the angel, came and he made her tail, and therefore she refused to appear with a tail at the party of Achashverosh. That was the first hand of God to make sure that Vashti left the scene, and that opened the door for Esther. Then the question was, what do you do with Vashti? Do you kill her? Do you get rid of her? Do you exile her? What do you do? Vayom Memuchan spoke up. There is a midrash that says that Memuchan was not Haman, or Haman Memuchan. That Memuchan was Michael. It was one of the, or maybe it was Gavriel. It was one of the angels, and these angels saw to it that indeed Vashti left the scene. Vashti was banished. Vashti was killed. Or the Shivat Hasarisim, the 7 helpers and advisors, they were all 7 angels advising him to get rid of Vashti to make room for Esther. The 7 advisors, they came to God, according to the Midrash, and they said, God, these people are going to destroy the Jews. Do these people bring any sacrifices to you? No. Only the Jews. You have to preserve the Jews. The 7 advisors to the king were really the 7 advisors to the ultimate king, and they were helping behind the scenes to make sure that God saved the Jews. Tedvav Amud Bet, later on in the Gemara goes on and says that at that very important moment when Esther tried to appear before the king without permission, unannounced, Rabbi Yochanan said there were 3 angels who came at that time. One lifted her head. She was dragging her head. She had been fasting. She was worried. She held her head the wrong way. A model, a queen, needs to hold her head high. She didn't know how to do it. The angel came and lifted her head. One angel came and he put a thread of grace on her, that she seemed more charming than ever. And one lengthened the scepter so that indeed the scepter reached her head. It wouldn't have, it might not have, but it did reach her head. Then that night, that fateful night, Achashverosh couldn't sleep. Nadash Nat HaMelech. Who woke him up? Nadadu Elyonim, the Elyonim al Tachtonim, the people in heaven, those in heaven, they woke them up. Who were they? Rashi says, the Malachim, the angels in heaven, woke them up and they said that there must be something that this fellow could do to return the favor to Achashverosh, and he realized how guilty he was for not doing something better for Mordechai, for saving his life. Then later on, they're reading the book to him. He can't sleep, so they read the book of records, the Sefer Zichronot, and they find that it says that Mordechai saved Haman's life, Achashverosh's life. So the rabbis say, but Shimshi, there was a Jew there who was a no-goodnik, and he kept erasing Mordechai's name from the book. Gavriel Kosev, but the angel kept writing Mordechai's story back in the book, so Achashverosh would remember, and Achashverosh would realize that Mordechai and Esther are the good guys on the right side. Later on, Tet Zayin Amud Aleph, the Gemara says that when Esther said, "Oh, you want to know why I'm really upset, Achashverosh? It's because of this terrible Haman, Haran Hara Hazeh, this one." But the rabbis say that she was in some ways accusing Achashverosh, who was complicitous to the destruction of the Jews. She was accusing him. So the angels took her finger and they pointed it away from Achashverosh at Haman, so that indeed, if she pointed in the right direction and no implication was made that somehow she was accusing Achashverosh. Then the king is not sure what to do. Should he really kill his main advisor, Haman? So he goes out into the garden. And there the rabbis say that the angels were chopping down trees to make Achashverosh even more angry. And then Haman falls on the bed. How did he fall? The angel pushed him, and they made him fall on the bed. And then, as if the story was over, she says, well, Achashverosh, in Shushan, the Jews killed hundreds of people. And in the rest of the country, they killed a lot of people too. And you would think Achashverosh would be pretty upset. So he was about to get really upset. And then the angel came, knocked him on his head and knocked him on his mouth and changed it. So he said, what else can I do for you, Esther? Here the rabbis have about 10 stories of angels. 10 places where they see a hand of God directing the events. It may not seem obvious. It seems that God has turned his back on the Jews. It seems that the Jewish story is over. But sure enough, the rabbis say that little do we realize, there are little angels, God's messengers. God sends his messengers to save us in these little sorts of ways. Even in all of our work that we do throughout the year, throughout the week, we always think that I'm doing it. I'm in charge. I know what's going on around here. But the Torah says that when they had to build a Mishkan, they had to build a tabernacle, do something important, to build something important, Vayimaleo to a Ruach Elokim, to do anything in life, we need that little extra angelic help from God to get it right. And hopefully, with God's help, we do it right. Think if the Mishkan is given with all its details, you know how to do it. But even that, you need the Ruach Elokim. You'd think if we have a job, we have a business, we have investments, we have a task to do in our work, that it should be easy to do. You do it, you read the professional guidebooks, and you do it. But the truth is, in all of our endeavors, we need the Ruach Elokim. We need something beyond the Chokhmah, beyond our own wisdom and our own brains. We need a little siyata d'shmaya. We need a little extra help from God. That's our prayer at the time of Purim, that God should continue to send Yishlach malachol lefanecha, etzliach d'rachecha. God should send his angel and continue to guide us in the right way. And that hopefully, in this way, not only do we have salvation in the time of Purim, not only do we have a beautiful building in the time of B'Tzalel, but all of our work, the work of our hands, should be blessed as well. And that indeed, God should guide us in these very turbulent, very difficult times. God should guide our hands. The little angels, messengers of God, should see to it that he directs things in the proper way, as it was in the days of Mordechai and Esther, as they had joy in those days, so may we have in our days as well. Thank you for joining us here in our discussion of Purim. We'll have a number of discussions this year about Purim, and there are past discussions, 3 past discussions as well on our archives. Well, so thank you for joining us here at the Anshe Sfar Beth El congregation here in Memphis, Tennessee. Join us each week for our discussions. Thank you to Jason Lefkowitz for making today's presentation possible. And we learn throughout the year, Zecher Nishmas, in memory of my father, my teacher, Baruch ben Chaim Shmuel. May his memory be blessed. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.